Hi and welcome to my first long form YouTube video. So I'm going to show you what I created using an I upcycled a frame I had that was given to me, and then I used some new plexiglass to create this faux stained glass raven piece. Ravens are one of my favorite birds. I love many birds, but definitely ravens. And I am obsessed with trees and green. So you are going to see all of those elements within this current piece. Now, I love real stained glass. I appreciate the craftsmanship of it, but unfortunately something this big would just not be in my price range at the moment. So therefore I decided to make my own with some upcycled materials. So what I'm doing here is taking a leading, it's a faux leading material. It's very easy to work with. Now if you have a lot of curvature within your design, then you'll probably have to make a lot of cuts or maybe use the liquid leading, which you'll see me also use that product within this video as well. So I started with the plexiglass, measured to size to fit my frame, and then I just did a rough sketch of a design that I wanted. So I just did this design of a branch and a crescent moon in the background. There you see right there, that is the liquid leading I am using in joints where I had to cut. And then for smaller areas that I just wouldn't be able to use these pieces of leading strip with. And this product is also very easy to use as well. This one that I have, it doesn't dry as black as the leading lines. I keep saying leading lines. I don't know what to call that product. I can link it in my description if you are interested in that. But this is a sped up version of all of my lines traced. Now what I'm going in with here is it's just a concoction. I decided to do just a basic glue, white glue, and I added some alcohol inks to it. I figured I would just experiment with that, and it worked out very well. I was also considering some powder pigments. I know that would probably work as well, but I just wanted to try adding some alcohol inks to this. So what you will notice is it looks a lot lighter than what it's going to dry. Of course, that's because the color of the glue is white and it has not fully cured yet. So once the glue dries fully, your colors become a lot richer. So I'm just filling in the raven with black and then going in with some white, and it's an iridescent white that I used. You can't really tell so much. And then I go in with a little bit of the black I used for the raven and mix that in for a little bit of color variation for the moon. Now I did try to, everything sped up. This took 2 days to make, broken out down time wise. I can't say, maybe between 4 to 5 hours total. But it took a little bit, but it's funny that it took so long, and then I have it condensed down and sped up into an 11-minute video. But here I'm adding, now it looks yellow, which it was actually a very light green, and it looks very yellow when I mixed it with the white glue. It does dry a lot darker, so I didn't mind that at all. As you see, my color scheme with this piece is a lot of different shades of green. Now I'm just going in with this popsicle stick and spreading the glue mixture around, and I will do that with every little area And what I do as well is I'll leave some of the area and I will mix in a different color with that. Just because I've noticed with so many of the real stained glass pieces, sometimes you get some swirls and color variation within the glass. So I was trying to mimic that as best as I could. See, here I'm adding a different shade of green that I mixed up. It looks, like I said, very bright, but it's gonna dry a lot darker. So here I'm just taking this time. A toothpick was a lot easier to maneuver around the smaller areas compared to the popsicle stick. So from here on out, I just continue to use a toothpick to spread the glue mixture. And now I'm going in with a different color. I think in total I did six different shades of green. I did use a separate shade just for the tree's leaves as well. And then I did 2 different shades for the branches. Here I'm just going in with an additional color of green and spreading that all around. So I wanted it to go from a lot lighter into something a bit darker, a lot lighter around the moon, which you would have a little bit more glow, and then coming out you would have a lot more darker. My paint doesn't go too dark. I would have loved a really dark green, but like I said, this was an experiment for me, so I was just kind of playing around with this to see. And I figured for a first video, why not try to film myself, which for me, I'm not a tech savvy individual, and this is a little nerve-wracking for me trying to film and then definitely doing all this editing, trying to get this video on YouTube. Oh my goodness, a mess. So I did have a couple areas which spilled over a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. I just cleaned those up with some paper towel, my finger and paper towels, so it was fine. Right here I'm putting the second shade of brown and mixing that in, so there's some variation as well for the bark. Now I am coming in with the last color of green besides the color that I mix for the leaves, and then just going in and filling all the little crevices. Actually, I take that back. This is not the last color. There is another color after this, and then another color for the leaves. So for some reason, I do like watching this process sped up. I wish it was this fast in person. And I know a lot of people say that, especially artists when they're making something. I'm sure they could speed it up to be this quick. But doing these things too is very therapeutic. So now here is the last color besides the color I mix for the leaves. And as you can see, right below the raven, I did mix the previous shade and the one that looks a little, I guess, like a seafoam green, but I did do a little mixing there as well. Now, what I did find with using these letting strips is there were some areas where I had too rounded, I guess you could say, and they lifted a little bit and then didn't stay as flush. So I had to go in and snip those down with some sharp scissors, and I got those to lay properly. And here's the last shade of green for my leaves. Now you have everything all set and just needs to dry. I did put mine out in the sun for a little bit so it could dry a little bit faster. And here is the final result. Everything is dried and hanging. I absolutely love it for being an experiment, and I would definitely want to do more, especially with a ghost. But let me know what you think and subscribe for more creations. I post shorts every week. Bye guys.